And we're live. Sunday Service episode number 46 coming right at you. We're hot off the UFC Des Moines card. Corey Sandhagen gets it done in the main event. No shock there. But the real shock from last night comes in the co-main event. Bo Nickal TKO'd in round 2 by Reinier de Ridder. I didn't know that it was going to come this quickly. I didn't think the fraud check would happen this fast. But it came in the form of DDP Part 2. That was a DDP-esque performance by Reinier de Ridder. We'll dive deep into that fight. My thoughts on Bo Nickal's performance, Bo Nickal's future in the UFC. We'll see how he can bounce back, if he even wants to bounce back. D-Rod getting it done against Ponzi. Overall, the card was actually not the best. Not the best. Couple nice finishes on the prelims. A couple snoozers overall. I didn't think it was the greatest card. I was looking at it. Last week I said it was not the best name value, but there were some good matchups, and the matchups that I was actually looking forward to didn't play out that nicely, to be honest. So the card wasn't really the best, but we got UFC 315 next week, which just lost one fight that I was really looking forward to in Benoit Saint-Denis and Joel Alvarez. So hopefully they can get a replacement for Benoit Saint-Denis. I've seen some people put their name in the hat. So that would be interesting to see if anybody gets to step up, because that fight card needs a solid lightweight fight. It really does. Losing that fight sucks because there's already 2 women's MMA fights on that main card. So that card could use a little bit of a boost, and maybe like a Benoit Saint-Denis, Mauricio Rufy. Maybe that could be something nice. I know he said something about that, but let's hit the chats. Let people hop in here before we get into a little recap of the card. Noah, what's going on? Apex card? Hey, better than an Apex card, but it ain't, the best pay-per-view you're going to see. RDR is DDP. He really is, bro. He really is. Last night's performance it reminded me so much of DDP versus Whitaker. And fortunately, I was on the right side of DDP versus Whitaker, and I wasn't on the right side last night. Okay. The ones that really hurt are the ones where you don't really believe in the guy that has all the hype, or the guy that's supposed to win, but you just think they're going to be able to get by in this matchup, and you lose the fade spot. Like, that was the fade spot with RDR. And now that we saw it play out, it's like it was so obvious. But Christopher Romero, what do you think UFC 318 main event going to be if it's not Poirier Holloway? Pretty sure it is Poirier Holloway, right? 318 is Poirier Holloway. Pretty sure that's the main event in New Orleans. Definitely so. You got Belal. I'm not 100% on my pick, but I want to look at it more. And I don't know that I would be all in on Belal at the current betting odds. Let me just say that. The amount of hate for Bo is even overwhelming for me. Are you a Bo Nickal super fan or what? You need a maths lesson? I don't know what you mean. Look at the title, big guy. I'm going to ask it again. RDR, double champ potential. Yes or no? I still say no. Munir. But hey, your boy RDR got it done. I always kind of like RDR just because he reminds me of DDP, and DDP is my favorite fighter. So yeah, RDR got a lot more love for me last night. Jonathan, what's going on? Hey, Java, love the content, brother. We love the RDR upset. I loved it too. I love to see it, man. Remember our agreement from last week? You would apologize if Reinier won. I never even said anything bad about Reinier de Ridder. Now, I will make fun of his striking because his striking does look disgusting. But it is effective. It's the DDP way. It might look ugly, but it's effective. When are the player props dropping? Man, if I knew that, I would be in a much more powerful position than I am right now. Bo ended up bent over. That's crazy. Need to see tape from the RDR DDP sparring session from a few years ago. That'd be sick. That'd be awesome. I would love to see that as well. JDM for real. Frank, I don't know if you are aware, but Belal Muhammad, he's almost 37. So let's just put that out there. Let's go Belal, says Vinny Diaz. We got some Belal love in the chat. Yo, Bo ended up bent over like a hoe. You should feed him to Hamza to make him put his money where his mouth is. Yeah, actually, thinking about it now, the way that Bo Nickal was talking about what he would do to Hamzat, or like that he would easily beat Hamzat, is just hilarious. It's hilarious, man. Shevchenko lock. I don't know that I would call her a lock, but I do think it's going to be a close fight. DDP sucks. Yeah, well, that's why he's defended his title twice now and never lost in the UFC. Definitely sucks. Not a Bo fan, but bro is being torn apart. He's only 7-1, but I understand because he talked a lot of shit. Yeah, he talked a lot of shit and didn't back it up. So why don't we just talk about this, all right? Let's just break it down right off the jump. We're only 6 minutes in. Let's just get it out there. Let's see what you guys think. So my assessment of the fight was Bo Nickal absolutely got fraud checked. And I don't say that in the fact that he's a terrible fighter. But watch that fight and tell me what Bo Nickal did good. He got absolutely steamrolled. The only sliver of success he had in that fight was the one takedown that he got, and he got top control for about 30 seconds, and then Rainier de Ridder got back up to his feet. Bo Nickal pulled guard and ended up on bottom. And then in round 2, he gets absolutely stormed, and he didn't know what the hell to do. There was almost zero success in that fight for Bo Nickal. And we throw around the term fraud check all the time. But a lot of times, the fraud check comes into play when a guy loses a close decision or a guy gets knocked out with one punch. That I can give a little bit of leeway to. But Bo Nickal got steamrolled like a fight with almost no success, and he had no answer. Once the adversity hit him, he wanted out. He got hit in the body a couple times in round 2, and he basically mailed it in. Finally got hit with one flush knee, and then he just went down on the ground on one knee, and he said, I'm out of here. So Bo Nickal did get fraud checked, but that doesn't mean that he's completely cooked, because in perspective, it was only the guy's 8th professional fight. And considering the accolades that he does have in wrestling, there's a lot of hype around him. Obviously, he has some skills, but MMA and wrestling are just two different things. Okay, at this point, if you're some all-American wrestler, which supposedly Bo Nickal is one of the best wrestlers of all time, didn't look like that to me in MMA. MMA is just a different sport. I don't give a fuck about your wrestling anymore, because guys are now way more well-rounded than they once were, 10, 15 years ago, where if you're just a great wrestler, you could be the champion of your weight class. You got to be well-rounded. And Bo Nickal's still very young in the sport, so that's why I don't think, his future is completely over with, because he has the base. He is very athletic, but MMA, there's just so many things you need that you have to have the time to pick up those skills and to implement them in a fight. And considering this is the first fight where he's faced some true adversity, I think he gets this one out of the way, and I think he can bounce back. But for people that are like, no, it wasn't a fraud check, it was absolutely a fraud check. He got fraud checked on the fact that he couldn't compete at all at a guy that was just inside the top 15 of the middleweight division. He can't compete with the guys in the rankings right now. There was almost no success throughout the entire fight for Bo. So that's my thoughts on it, man. Like, it was absolutely a fraud check. And if you're saying it wasn't, you're just trying to be nice to Bo at this point. Because I know Bo is a fierce competitor, and he's probably very hard on himself. He talks a lot of shit, and he's very confident, but I'm sure he's very hard on himself, and he's going to look at that performance and be like, I got to be a lot better. I got to take my training a lot more serious, because my wrestling is not going to get me far in the middleweight division when a guy in Rainier de Ridder he's big and he has a good ground game. But if you talk about, overall skill set, I don't know that I would say Rainer DeRitter is, a top 5 skill for skill guy in the middleweight division. He's just more well-rounded at this point, a lot more experience, and he brought the fight to him. You got to tip your cap too to Rainer DeRitter because at the end of the day, Paul Craig and Rainer DeRitter are pretty similar fighters. I would give Rainer DeRitter like a decent edge as far as the stand-up goes and maybe just overall durability. But Rainer DeRitter came out with the game plan of like, I'm going to make this guy uncomfortable and I'm not going to give a fuck. Like, I'm just going to come at him, make him uncomfortable. And if he can deal with it, so be it. But he couldn't deal with it. And he just absolutely steamrolled him. RDR is the truth, bro. RDR, baby. The next DDP. We'll see how far he goes. But let's hit these chats. Apparently, Marcus McGee is fighting Petr Yan. I saw that as well. That's crazy. Who does Bo fight after this? I was thinking about that. And I think you just got to give him some layups, man. You got to give Bo some layups. Let's just take a look at the Tapology ranking, see if we can get him a solid matchup as like somewhat of a bounce back. And even though he kind of quit out there, it doesn't really, like we've seen some fighters quit before. Like it happens. It doesn't mean they're always going to be a quitter or, the next time that he gets hit with something big, he's just going to find the door. I mean, Sean Brady pretty much said it himself that he kind of just wanted to take the door out when Belal was starting to piece him up. But he's come back stronger from that. So it's not totally over for Bo. Let's take a look at the rankings on Tapology. Oh, man. It's actually going to be kind of tough. I mean, you could maybe go back to the Bo Nickal Rodolfo Vieira matchup because I don't think Rodolfo Vieira has the physicality or the striking to, put it on Bo on the feet. Maybe you go with Rodolfo Vieira. I would love to see Bo Nickal versus Michał Oleksiejczak because Oleksiejczak, he's going to bring the fucking fight to him. I just want to see, if Oleksiejczak's going to bring the fight to him, how is he going to react this time? I kind of want to see that. Give him Mikey O because Mikey O doesn't have a great ground game. Bo Nickal could take him down, but I think it's a good test. It's a good test for Bo because it's like, okay, Mikey O has always struggled with the takedown. So you can get the takedowns if your wrestling is as good as you say it is. But if you don't get the takedowns, Mikey O is going to be winging left-hand bombs at your face. And I want to see how you react to the adversity this time. It's a decent matchup for him. And, Mikey O is coming off a win. Give him a nice little matchup. Who y'all got, JDM or Belal? I got JDM right now, but I'm not 100% sold. 3 of me could take on the bear. Yeah, right. He said he'd be a minus 1,000 favorite against Hamza. I also saw something from Bo that said he said he was going to be like a minus 800 favorite when he fought for the title. Like, oh my God, bro. Oh my God. I'm not going to lie. I could see another big upset in 2 weeks. A healthy Burns upsets Morales. I could see that as well. It's the year of the undefeated fighters losing their O. And old Michael Morales, undefeated. RDR Cannonier. That would be tough. I think I'd probably go with Cannonier. But RDR is a big motherfucker, bro. Who does Bo fight next? I went through that. Bro sold that hard. Battle of the fraud checks. Bo Nickal versus Shara. Maybe that would be decent too, but Shara is just so easy to take down. Is there a betting line going yet for how poor the yawn fest of UFC 315 will be sold? I haven't seen anything. Send Bo to Thailand 2-3 years and forget. Yeah, he could definitely use a clinch game because he got bullied in the clinch. You got time during the week to schedule a math lesson? I don't. Funny part of that fight is you lost money from locking in Bo Nickal. Crazy, Percy. You're hilarious, brother. It was a one-way fight. It was. From El Paso, and Valentina trains here at Zen Academy. She is going to try and shoot a lot of takedowns. If Firo stuffs some, Valentina's in big trouble. See, I don't really see it that way, man. I mean, Valentina was a kickboxer. She's not like a pure wrestler. She's a kickboxing base. So Even if she can't get takedowns, I don't think she's in big trouble. Real ones, remember Bo took a main card spot on 300 from Yuri, Bobby Green, Jim Miller, and other legends. Thank you for that chat, because we should absolutely remind the UFC that they put Bo Nickal on pay-per-view cards over champions of the sport, like legends of the game. He's been on main card pay-per-views only until this fight card, this fight night card in Des Moines. It's been only pay-per-views for Bo Nickal. and then all of a sudden, he gets a nice little step up in competition. He just folds. It's kind of crazy, man. Like the treatment the UFC gave this guy is like second to none. Second to none. UFC debut pay-per-view spot against, like, who was it? Jamie Pickett? Like, oh my God. It's crazy. I probably like Jillian KO and RDR KO at 195 to 1 odds. That's nice. That is real nice. I'm actually glad he KO'd him, because on the stream, the live betting stream, or the live betting breakdown stream we did, I was eyeing up that RDR sub and I didn't play it. But if he subbed Bo, I would have been pissed, because it was like 8 to 1. So I'm kind of glad he KO'd him, just so I didn't, miss out on it. Bo just got someone that's better than him. That's true. Won $500 on your better Marcos Loader under strikes. And I went Robertson under 2.5 insider subscribed. Let's go. Hey, good stuff. The crazy part is I bet Robertson or Marina Rodriguez early in the week at minus 136. The over 2.5 closed at minus 300. If you know betting, that is some serious closing line value. And as soon as I saw it go to minus 250, I was like, we're cooked. Because CLV is just the absolute kiss of death. Like, it's just what it is. It's terrible. Every time I get CLV, it's an L. It's ridiculous. Cam Smotherman with the all-time Hope performance. Dude, Smotherman, this is one thing that, from what I heard, Cam Smotherman went from training in like Houston, and then he was down at like the UFC Mexico PI, and he like was with a new camp for our new training, new coaches, new training partners for this camp. And I think that just messed with him, man. Like, every Cam Smotherman fight is him putting the pressure on, him in your face, him high volume. And he just didn't have any of that. Like, there was no urgency. You were down. The dude's down 2-0. And in the third round, he's like not even really going for it. He's like still just popping jabs out there. I didn't understand it, man. I guess, sometimes for young fighters, a camp change can be good, but also it can be bad. Like, sometimes you see him after a camp change and you're like, this is a different fighter than I've watched throughout his entire career. So, yeah, I don't know what was up with Smotherman. RDR is good, but Bo was the prospect. It was for sure his hardest matchup. Yeah. RDR, Brendan Allen. I could see that too. That'd be sick. We needed Jourdain and Nelson on the card. They'd bring some good striking fights. Only 11 fights and too many foreign NPCs. Get the good Canadians on there. I mean, it's going to be tough if you're going to Canada and you're really trying to get like fun Canadian fighters. I'm just being honest, man. Like, who do we got to pick from Canada? Not many. I guess Jourdain, sure. He probably should have been on the card. He's I guess one of the more fun ones, but it's slim pickings, man. Bo Nickal versus Torres Finney. I'm so about that. It'd be the most boring fight ever, but it'd be funny. Give Bo Matty. Bo versus GM3. I wouldn't be opposed to that. That makes kind of somewhat of sense. Give him Ozzy Diaz. That's more his level. Jesus. Bo versus Michelle Pereira. No, I wouldn't want to see that. Give him to Michelle. Really? People want to see that? Is Dana White helping or hurting the sport at this point in his career? I don't know. I don't know exactly what he does. I mean, none of us really know what he does at this point. It seems like he's more focused on like other things. UFC is the top of the top, can't be touched. So I don't know that he's like really dedicated to like growing it and making it the best thing. I think he's made it the best in the MMA world, which not a lot of competition, but I think he's focused on other stuff, fucking bull riding or whatever, bull riding and power slap and whatever. I guess boxing. He's getting into boxing, so it seems like Dana White is more focused on building other things than the UFC right now because there's no competition for the UFC. Like you have PFL, which really ain't pulling any type of numbers close to the UFC. You have the GFL, which was supposed to be a thing, but it got canceled. Bellator is gone. So yeah, UFC can pretty much do whatever they want to do because there's no competition. There's nothing like the UFC. Which rising fighter on the undercard do you think fans are sleeping on, and why should they keep an eye on them? The undercard, they're pretty much all shit. I'm not gonna lie. UFC 314 undercard fighters are pretty much either guys that have been in the UFC for a while and they're like kind of journeymen at this point. I guess the only prospect would be Navajo Sterling, but you know, he's 6-0. I wouldn't really say he's some absolute monster. I mean, we got fucking Bruno Silva and Marc-Andre Barrio, who are on a combined 7-fight losing streak. So that's the prelims, man. Why were the bookies fooled by Bo as well? I mean, the bookies are just gonna do what the bookies do. Bookies set the lines. They don't gotta bet on a certain guy. That's all it is. RDR versus Anthony. That would actually be sick. RDR versus Anthony Hernandez. I would be down to watch that. I think Anthony Hernandez might take him though. Actually, those knees to the body though. Those knees to the body. Anthony don't like those knees to the body. RDR versus the winner of Costa Kopylov. Yeah, I could see that. Valentina hasn't been a kickboxer in a long time. Don't forget it. She has 1K knockdown in her career. I mean, sure. All right. I mean, Manon Fiorot, she's a solid kickboxer, but she also went pretty close with Rose. She went pretty close with Caitlin Chukagian. She went pretty close with Erin Blanchfield. I know it was a 50-45, and I bet on Fiorot in that spot, but she didn't exactly like run away with every single round. She won every round by not a slim margin, but not a margin that was like it was so clear that everybody would understand it, you know. JDM is going sleep him Luke style for real. That'd be sick, honestly. Who needs to shut his mouth and just train? Yeah, probably. Belal Muhammad finally gets his title defense after a severe foot injury. Do you think his foot was just protesting the idea of fighting Shavkat Rakhmonov? I don't think so. I don't think Belal fears any man. I don't think his foot fears any man. And if you watch Shavkat versus Ian Gary, I don't think Shavkat's that dangerous or that scary. I actually didn't think he was very scary going into the Ian Gary fight because we've seen him touched up. We've seen Jeff Neal rock the guy. We've seen lesser grapplers stuff a lot of his takedowns. So I don't think Belal was protesting the idea of fighting Shavkat Rakhmonov. And at the end of the day, Shavkat's the one that couldn't make it to the fight. He was injured too. Why would anyone bet against Jillian Robertson? She's going to win the title. That's an interesting take, but I mean, Jillian Robertson has how many losses? See, like comments like these are just hilarious to me. Like genuinely makes me, and I'm gonna be picking on you, whoever made this comment, 7-6. Like it's genuinely hilarious. I didn't even bet against Jillian Robertson, but Jillian Robertson has 8 losses. So it's not like she's never lost. You know? Why would anyone bet against Jillian Robertson? Well, she's lost 8 times. So, I mean, it's not out of the realm that she could lose the 9th time. You know? Comments like these just make me lose brain cells. Fuck that Smoother dude. Killed the DFS. He did kill the DFS. We would have hit the 20X. It would have been nice. Why is International Fight Week not announced? I think Islam is on camp already if they're waiting for Belal. I mean, maybe they are waiting for the outcome of this just to see if Belal loses, then Islam might move up to 170, which is probably what Islam wants because I don't think Islam wants to fight Topuria. But let's say Belal wins and then Islam won't move up to 170 and then they can make Ilia Topuria versus Islam. But if Belal loses, then they have Jack Della as the welterweight champion, and Islam Makhachev might just want to move up to 170 and vacate the 155 title. And then we have Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira for a vacant lightweight title. That's probably what they're waiting on. That's probably why International Fight Week has not been announced. But they want to see what happens this Saturday. Smotherman and those guys from Lobo Gym. Jeez. Come on. Smotherman and those guys from Lobo Gym know how to take a beating. Grasso and Diego Lopez really know how to be punching bags. That is very true, actually. I mean, it's harsh, but it's facts. I mean, they kind of just like to be punched. Smotherman one-dimensional with no sense of urgency. Like you said, I picked the prick. Yeah. RDR going under on his strikes killed me. I don't know why you would go over on strikes for RDR. Jillian should have been on Canada card. She definitely should have. She's behind Jasmine Jasudavicius. She might be the best Canadian fighter. Like Jasmine's the best Canadian fighter they have right now. At least she's on the card, but I don't know why they didn't make Jillian on the Canada card. Nickal versus Shara Bullet or too early to kill a prospect. They're both busted prospects. Not busted. They're not busted prospects, but Nickal just suffered a loss. Shara Bullet just suffered a loss. So I guess maybe if you put them together, one of them's got to get back on the winning track, but I wouldn't really make that, no. There's some good Canadian prospects coming up in other promotions. Yeah, all right. That's what I've been hearing for years about Canada. Jeremy Stevens versus Trevor Peake. I would actually be down for that. I would be so down for that. Jeremy Stevens, Trevor Peake. I feel like Trevor Peake would actually wrestle, though. So he's kind of rounded out his game a little bit. Got those strongman takedowns. I feel like Trevor Peake would get hit with some punches and just be shooting double legs. Plus, Jeremy fought at was that 145? I know, it was 155. I don't know, I think it was 145. But Trevor's 145 now. I'm pretty sure Peake's going down to 145. Dana is the mouthpiece for the UFC. Seems like Hunter Campbell is the man running the show. It's kind of what I'm seeing too. Entire GFL roster versus a gorilla. Ooh. I'll take the gorilla, man. I just don't know how they could. The age, man. It's the age. Age of the average fighter just couldn't deal with a gorilla. Only way they could fund it now if they did that. Good luck, you'll need it. Christian Lee, the ONE FC champ, is Canadian but lives in Singapore now, I think. I'll be honest, I don't give a fuck about ONE FC. I think the ONE FC events are like, they're solid for entertainment value. Like, it's most of it is all striking. They've pretty much done away with a lot of MMA. It's mostly like Muay Thai. Like, it's cool, but they just don't have the promotion that the UFC does. They just don't. Should Grasso be an underdog to Natalia Silva? I think she should be, honestly. Just got here. You on Jasudavicius? Yeah, I think she wins. Christian Lee versus Topuria or Patty would be interesting. You're gonna have to. elaborate on that. I mean, Jourdain is fun. Nelson too is a hobby. Likes to throw down. Barrios just scraps. Malata is usually fun, but not his last fight. There's some fun guys. Yeah, they're fun fighters, I guess, but they're not great. Fights to make post UFC Iowa. Well, if I was going to make the fights, let me pull up the rankings. It's kind of tough because some of the matchups that I would want to see, they already have a fight booked. So, if let's say Sean O'Malley wasn't fighting Merab, I would have done Corey versus Sean O'Malley after Corey gets the win against Figueiredo. Figueiredo looked washed as hell, and he should probably hang him up. But if Figueiredo's gonna hang around, you could do a Figgy versus a Henry Cejudo, or a Figgy versus the winner of maybe like a Mario Batista or something like that. Rainer de Ritter. I think you do de Ritter versus Brendan Allen. Somebody said that earlier. I agree with that. De Ritter versus Brendan Allen, or De Ritter versus Fluffy Hernandez, but I think Fluffy deserves to keep fighting up in the rankings. Bo Nickal versus either GM3 or Michal Olszewski. That makes sense to me. Montel Jackson, I think we got to give him a matchup just because he got another win. Montel versus Kyler Phillips. That's cool to me. Montel versus Kyler Phillips, or a Montel versus Mario Batista. If Batista can't beat Batista's fighting Cheeto, isn't he? Yeah, if he can't beat Cheeto, I guess you do that. But I think Batista probably beats Cheeto. Other than that, I don't really care. I say Michelle because it's either Michelle KO in 30 seconds or he gasses and Bo can get a near rankings win. I don't think they need to set him up for wins to get near the rankings again, though. I feel like they got to give him fights that'll test him a little bit to keep getting more experience. Jack Della went life and death with a short notice Basil Hafez and split decision versus Kevin Holland. Yeah, is that right? Did he do that? Wow. Belal Muhammad lost to Alan Jouban, where he got knocked down 3 times. See how we can just do that? Belal Muhammad got knocked out by Vicente Luque in under 90 seconds. See how we can just do that? Belal Muhammad lost a decision to Jeff Neal, 30-27, where he got knocked down twice. See how we can just do that? It's hilarious what people will just, what am I supposed to do with this information? You went life and death with a short notice Basil Hafez and split decision versus Kevin Holland. Well, he won both fights. I mean, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this? If that's what you're going off of, you ain't gonna make it far, buddy. Why would Valentina even be shooting takedowns in this matchup? Well, she kind of has used her wrestling in almost every fight that she has had for the past 4 or 5 years, I would say. I'm starting to think Belal will retire as champion. I want JDM to win, but Belal just has too much pressure, and his striking is good enough to hang. Nobody was saying this before the Leon Edwards fight. Okay, nobody was saying this stuff. Nobody. Everybody thought Belal was this absolute bump. They really did. They thought Leon Edwards was going to go in there and knock him out, dog walk him. And some people did. Some people believed in Belal, but even the ones that believed in Belal weren't saying he just has too much pressure and his striking is going to be so good against Leon to where Leon isn't even able to throw any strikes. They weren't saying that. Belal's on a crazy long win streak, and he's very well rounded, but this is just how narrative shifts. Ever since Belal beat Leon, now Belal is this guy that just can't be touched. No. This is MMA, bro. This is MMA. Belal couldn't fight. His foot was a balloon. LOL. If you know, you know. I do not know. Who's your favorite non-ranked fighter right now? Favorite non-ranked fighter. Maybe Mauricio Rufy. It's tough because there's so many weight classes and there's like 80 to 100 guys outside the rankings in every weight class. So that's tough. Maybe Kevin Vallejos. I love Kevin Vallejos. Vallejos is nasty. He's like Topuria part 2, dude. I like watching his boxing is so nice. Yeah, maybe Kevin Vallejos. That might be my answer. You think Zahabi has a shot against Aldo? I think he does. I think Zahabi does have a shot. Jourdain would have made the Montel Jackson fight more entertaining than Marcos did. I'd favor him in those kind of fights like Phillips and other ranked guys. If Jourdain fought Montel Jackson is winning that one, bud. But I do agree he probably would have made it more entertaining. I still think Montel would have won, though. Who you got winning the second round between Daniel versus Santiago? Because 3 judges gave it to Rodriguez, and I can't believe it. I also agree. I think Santiago won round 2. Clearly lost the first round. I thought Santiago took round 2. I thought it was 1-1 going into the third. But at the end of the day, it didn't really matter. Ilya versus Charles more than likely, or unless they do Justin versus Islam. But we'll see after this week. I hope to God they don't do Justin versus Islam. That would suck. What do you think of Ilya versus Arman? I don't know. It just doesn't really make sense. I don't think Ilya should have to fight anybody unless it's for a belt. Like, if they're going to do Ilya versus Arman for the vacant belt, then sure. But, like, I really don't think Ilya needs to fight anybody in the rankings unless he's fighting for the title. He just knocked out 2 of the best featherweights of all time. He vacated his featherweight title to move up to 155. He didn't vacate the 145 title to go up and fight contenders. Like, the dude is undefeated, knocked out 2 of the best featherweights of all time. People really think he needs to go fight contenders at 155? Like, what is wrong with you? Rodriguez lost like 4 of the last 5 and only win against Waterson. And Julian is in prime making a title run. Okay. Boys, get a Jillian Robertson fan page here. I like Jillian Robertson too, but I don't know if she's on a title run, brother. All right, we're going to drop the IG Live. If you're in the IG Live, come on over to the YouTube. They are gonzo. It's just us. Now we're not on Instagram. We can say some wild shit. I'm joking. We can't. We're still on YouTube. Navajo Sterling prediction. I think Navajo will probably chop away at him with his kicks. And either a late finish or decision. One got KO'd, one went 3 rounds. I don't know what you're talking about. RDR is bringing an event to the Netherlands again. That would be sick. RDR main event. That'd be awesome. I can't get the Basil Hafez performance out of my head for JDM. I can't see him beating Belal. Well, sucks to feel that way then. Maybe take your feelings out of it. Then you might be able to see stuff. Bull versus Shara does sound okay. Battle of the failures. Jesus. Belal or JDM? Right now I'm on JDM, but that's purely based on the betting line. I don't think Belal at minus 250 or whatever it's at is intriguing at all. I don't think it is. Nobody throws a standing hammer fist like Trevor Peak. It's true. The man that created the standing hammer fist. The man, the myth. $100 John Jones can beat a gorilla for sure. Or 100 John Jones can beat a gorilla for sure. You think so? Opinion on Joshua Van? Joshua Van's nasty, bro. I love that dude. Maddie versus Hey Jive. I mean, Maddie's probably got 40 pounds on me, 40, 50. Don't have much of a neck. I'd have to really catch him with something. I'd have to catch him with like a high kick or something. You see the death sentence in the UFC soon after a dominant performance? No, I don't know what that means. If BST Alvarez did happen, round 1 KO for Alvarez, right? I don't know if there'd be a round 1 KO, but I do think Alvarez would win. BSD versus Rufy, that'd be sick. Hopefully it gets made. We need that. We need BSD on that card. You know, didn't Barut get bodied by Piper? Not sure what his mindset's going to be like after that. Well, Shoujo, he got knocked out by Piper, and then he got knocked out by Dustin Stoltzfus. So it ain't looking good for our boy Marc-Andre Barrial's chin. It's really actually looking really bad for our boy Marc-Andre Barrial's chin, because the way he went out against Stoltzfus, who's not a power puncher, yeah, not good. Got to throw the Chino in the top shelf. We're 40 minutes in. A little drink of the bubbler. We can keep these chats coming. Would Figgy fight Cejudo? That was his coach before he decided to move back to Brazil. You're right. He probably wouldn't. And at this point, it doesn't really make any sense. Figgy versus Aldo. Yeah, that'd be cool too. That'd be cool. Jackson versus Cheeto, maybe. Yeah, that'd be cool too. After he loses to Bautista. Bo Nickal versus Ikram Alaskarov next. Now we're actually talking. Now we are actually talking, Munir. Bo Nickal versus Ikram Alaskarov is the fight to make. Beautiful chat from Munir. All right, Alaskarov, Dagestani, been knocked out by Hamzat Chimaev, knocked out by Robert Whittaker. He has taken his fraud check. Bo Nickal just took his fraud check. I think you match him up. I think that's perfect. I didn't even think about that. Bo Nickal versus Ikram Alaskarov. There you go. There's Bo Nickal's next fight. Throw him to the Russian. See if he can take down the Russian. We'll see. We shall see. JDM is the new champion in the making. We shall see. Sandman versus winner of Merab O'Malley. RDR versus Allen. Bo Nickal versus Robocop. Bekoev versus Abus. Marcos versus Wellmaker. That would actually be sick. Carlos Leal versus D-Rod. Dude, Leal. I think Leal would fucking murder D-Rod, but I've been not been high on D-Rod lately. Jones versus Green. Mason Jones versus Bobby Green. That should be all right. City versus Jourdain. Yeah, that's solid. Good matchmaking right there. JDM clearly beat Holland and just made guillotine mistakes against Hafez. These are weak narratives people use against him. Valid comment from Will. Because if you do watch the JDM fight with Hafez, I feel like JDM might have bet on himself to win by sub because he just kept going to it. He just kept pulling Gilly. He kept looking for these submissions. I'm like, bro, you could just stuff the takedown. Like he stuffed 3 out of 20 takedowns. Like he stuffed 17 out of 20 takedowns. He only got taken down 3 times. But the times that he did get taken down, he was like pulling for guillotine or some shit. Like he was kind of fucking with him a little bit. Ikram would beat the brakes off of Bo. Don't make that fight. Yeah, he probably wouldn't. I'm a little sassy tonight. I haven't been getting much sleep the past couple days. Been busy. The painting, that's the DDP painting, bro. That's beautiful. Sass is warranted. Some of these comments are 0 IQ. Bro, if you think some of these comments are 0 IQ, you should look at some of my comments, like on a post on Instagram. You'll lose brain cells. Valentina shoots takedown when she's not comfortable with how the stand-up is going, and it could happen against Manon at some points. I do agree with that. I think that is a very valid take. Sandhagen versus Jan rematch wouldn't make sense, so I guess a title shot. Well, maybe it would make sense, but I mean, Sandhagen, he just beat a 36 or 7-year-old Figgy. Like, I know it was a nice win where he looked clearly like the better fighter, but I don't know that you could just like throw him into another title shot. I guess maybe just because, if Merab beats O'Malley, like Merab kind of needs a fresh opponent that he would get the opportunity. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would like to see Sandhagen get another win. Charles Radke's a 3-1 underdog against Mike Malott. You think that's good value? Well, he's 2-1, I believe, not 3-1. But I do tend to think that it is solid value right now, just because Mike Malott, not a high volume striker. I don't think he's the best wrestler. I I don't think he has the best cardio, but he has good skills. He has a really good skill set, but I just don't know that he's like the greatest fighter. And what I mean by that is like he has good skills, but he doesn't know how to put it all together, and he doesn't really like to get into a dogfight type of thing. Like he's not really willing to throw himself into the fire, take a risk that way. But he does have like good timing on shots, good technique that allows him to get knockdowns, good submission package. Like he's a good, very skilled guy. I just don't know that he's like the greatest fighter. You think all the Canadians get it done this weekend? I highly doubt it. I highly doubt every Canadian gets it done, but possible. I've been on the Belal train since the first ever Leon fight. I knew him losing his eye would start his villain champ arc. Okay. Jeremy's performance wasn't like a washed old contender. He actually did pretty nice for his age. Yeah. Yeah. But the thing, it really came down to Mason Jones. Like, whenever he wanted to take him down, he could take him down. So, like, it was Mason Jones, engaging in the striking to like make it somewhat exciting. And then when he wanted to, he could just take him down. So I feel like if Mason Jones just went out there with a 100% grappling game plan, he probably would have given Jeremy Stevens no moments in that entire fight, and he probably would have looked washed. I was there in Iowa last night, first time going to UFC ever. Unreal experience. Crowd was insane. Sad Jeremy Stevens took the L in hometown. Well, glad you got to an event for the first time ever. I remember my first event, and I thought it was amazing as well. So they are fun. Not in a million years could Jillian beat Whaley. That is so true. But yeah, title run is maybe if the run stops it, a Whaley opponent. I agree with you. I was just asking you, who would you favor in that fight, Islam or Ilya? Not that it has to happen. I 100% agree Ilya should be fighting for the title. Who would I favor in the fight? I mean, I don't really. It's a tough question because I already know Islam's going to be favored. Like, I know Islam's going to be the favorite, but I think Ilia Topuria can beat him. I would probably mark it up closer to like a 50-50. Maybe Islam's slight favorite, but I think Ilya's what, plus 200 or something right now. Navo Sterling is green AF. He loses from an experience standpoint, not because he sucks. Possible. Should I trust JDM to put a good fight if I take a date for UFC 315? I don't know what you mean by take a date. Like go out on a date or save the date so you can watch it. But you can trust JDM to put on a good fight. 100%. JDM was also losing the entire fight to Burns due to pressured takedowns prior to the weird stand-up and the knee. Was it a weird stand-up? I thought Burns lost position because he was looking to climb the back. But the thing is, with that fight, Burns took him down 7 times, but that means Jack Della got up 7 times. Or at least he got up 3 times. Or 4 times. Because I don't really think he was like getting ragdolled. Like he got controlled for 1 minute and 15 seconds the first round, 1 minute and 39 seconds the second round, and 2 minutes and 13 seconds the third round. And he didn't take much damage. And arguable that Jack Della was up 2-0 from damage. But he did give up the takedowns. So he gave up the takedowns, but he limited control time, didn't take any damage, and got up, made him work, and then in round 3, TKO'd him. So it's tough because, like, Gilbert has a better ground game than Belal when it comes to jiu-jitsu. But I think Belal might be better at keeping guys on the ground. So there's no doubt in my mind, like, Belal can get takedowns on Jack Della. But I think Jack has a solid get-up game. and he's going to continue to work. And I think Jack Della has solid cardio. Good boxing, pressure. Belal's been KO'd before. He doesn't do great against really solid boxers, as we've seen in the past, Jeff Neal. So we shall see. How do you not know? Oh, death sentence. That's what we're talking about. Death sentence. What's his the dude that trade with Mighty Mouse? Is that the guy? Yeah, the dude that traded with Mighty Mouse. I didn't watch the video of him training with Mighty Mouse, but that dude's funny as hell. I know him now. I guess I gotta watch the video of him training with Mighty Mouse. I saw he got his first win in like a street beefs type of style fight or whatever. So good for him. Matty probably has Michelle Pereira cardio. I'd have some faith in you. Yeah, probably a better cardio. DSD is a marauder, dude. An absolute marauder. Benoit Saint-Denis. That guy is a marauder. Google death sentence. I did. I thought we were like talking about some literal death sentence. I was like, where did this come from? But I know what we're talking about now. Did you listen to Jeff Molina on Ariel talking about how the media played up what happened in the cross betting situation? I saw some clips, but obviously Jeff's going to probably play it down. So I don't know. Do you permanently move from Florida? Did you permanently move from Florida? Yes, I permanently moved from Florida back to Wisconsin. All in on Navajo and JDM. Navajo and Belal locked. Ikram destroys Bo in every aspect. I think so, probably. Ikram KOs Bo in one. Facts. Jeremy Stevens versus Nate the Train would be sick. I would actually be down for that. Bo Nickal versus Kobe Covington in welterweight battle of American wrestling. Well, Bo Nickal would probably fuck him up. Just say that. Since most UFC heavyweights suck, where do you think Renan Ferreira would rank in the current UFC heavyweight division? I think Renan Ferreira would probably beat Tai Tuivasa. Definitely not beating Shamil Gaziev. I think he'd probably be top 15, but I don't know that he would make it in the top 10. Ikram versus Bo is brutal for Bo. Yeah, I get it. What's up? You think Charles Radke is a dog? I think it's very tempting, and it's definitely one that I got to look at more to do my due diligence and see if it is worth taking the shot on Charles Radke. But my initial thought was, yeah, it looks like it's a worthy shot, but I got to do my due diligence. I like Radke against Malott, KO by Magny. People forget, man. People forget what Neil Magny did to Mike Malott. Was losing the entire fight, and then in the last 30 seconds, got on top of him, TKO'd him. People forget. People forget what Neil Magny did to Mike Malott, man. Top 15 heavyweights in the UFC versus Gorilla. Well, I can tell you right now, might have to use Tai Tuivasa as like a human shield, because that man weighs about 400 pounds. He might weigh more than the Gorilla. What do gorillas weigh? Gorilla weight. Adult male gorillas, also known as silverbacks, generally weigh between 300 to 500 pounds. So Tai Tuivasa is about as heavy as a gorilla. So we got to throw Tai Tuivasa at the gorilla right away, because it's going to take him a while to get through Tai. And then I think we have John Jones on all fours, bear crawling towards the gorilla. We have Cyril Gane leg kicking the gorilla as John Jones is climbing onto his back. Then we have Sergey Pavlovich in the pocket, just throwing hooks like he always does. We have Curtis Blades speaking to him with his speech impediment, throwing the gorilla off. We have Jailton Almeida also diving on a leg. We have Sergey Spivak grabbing him by the neck, judo throwing him. And then we have Shamil Gaziev ground and pounding on top. And then we have Tom Aspinall tearing his limbs off. That's how we beat the gorilla, the top 15 heavyweights. We don't even need 15. As long as Tai Tuivasa can hold up for a little bit while the gorilla is tearing into him, I think we're solid. I'd say Corey being next makes sense. Fresh matchup from Rob. And if Sugar wins style-wise, yeah, that actually does kind of make sense. You're right. RDR's grappling remind you of Aljos? Not entirely, but somewhat. The Pride of Canada, Jazzy Jazz Devicius. Hot take. Islam is overrated as the champion, and his resume is overrated as well. I mean, his resume before he became champion was not the strongest. Getting a title shot off of beating Bobby Green. That was pretty weak, but considering he submitted Charles, knocked out Volk, submitted DP, even though it wasn't a prime DP. Yeah, I mean, it's not like some amazing resume, but he's beaten everybody that has stepped in front of him as he's been a champion, and he's done it in relatively dominant fashion outside the first Volk fight. But I still thought he won that fight. Is Bo the face of Dana White privilege? I think he has to be. I mean, nobody has made their UFC debut as, I mean, you can probably go back to like fucking CM Punk and shit, but like, let's just think about this, right? Bo Nickal was on pay-per-views. In a time where we have so many great fighters. Bo Nickal was on pay-per-views against Jamie Pickett. He was on pay-per-views fighting Val Woodburn. He was on pay-per-views fighting Cody Brundage. Like, let's just look at those cards, please. Tapology. Let's get it quick here. Jamie Pickett. I just clicked on Jamie Pickett. UFC 285. Bo Nickal was on a pay-per-view over Cody Garbrandt, over Derek Brunson in his UFC debut, over Ian Gary. He was on a pay-per-view over those three fighters, over Ian Gary, over Dricus du Plessis, over Cody Garbrandt in his UFC debut. Second fight in the UFC. He's on a pay-per-view. Over Shannon Ross. No, I'm kidding. Okay, that pay-per-view wasn't really that deep. I mean, he was on a pay-per-view over Robbie Lawler's retirement fight. So, I mean, there's something there in the second fight. I guess the prelims on that card really weren't that great. UFC 300 is where it gets bad. Okay, Bo Nickal was on a pay-per-view over Yuri Prohashka, champion. Aljamain Sterling, champion. Diego Lopez, Renato Moicano, Jim Miller, Cody Garbrandt, Davison Figueiredo. They really wanted Davison Figueiredo and Cody Garbrandt, two former champions, on the prelims over Bo Nickal versus Cody Brundage. If that's not Dana White privilege, I don't know what is. UFC 309. Bo Nickal versus Paul Craig. All right, the prelims are actually pretty shit on that card. Not going to lie. That main card actually sucked because it also had Viviane Araújo versus Karine Silva. So I won't be pissed about that. But UFC 300 was just ridiculous. As a virgin chest, crazy. Death sentence in UFC, let's go. Death sentence will take over the flyweight division in 5 years. I'm about it. If they did Islam versus Justin, how bad do you think Justin would get whooped? It would either be like a competitive 5-round fight or maybe a late Islam finish, or Islam just blows through him in a round or two and just completely dominates him on the ground. Bo is too big for middleweight. He is stuck being a mid-level fighter. I don't think he's too big for middleweight. If Arman and Ilya did ever meet in the octagon, how would you see that going? Hypothetical. I think Ilya could still knock him out. JDM versus Ian, how do you think that would go? That's tough. That's actually really tough. Because I know JDM can counterfight. Okay. I know JDM can counter strike if Ian Gary's going to do the whole jab, leg kick, run away type of thing. Like JDM's has good pressure and he can also counter strike, unlike Carlos Prates. And I think he has better pressure than Carlos Prates, but Ian Gary's kicks, like he used against Carlos Prates, those head kicks do get to your arms. So JDM might, fracture an arm or his arms start to get a little bit dead. So I think that would be a very 50-50 fight. I would say that. Bo Nickal versus Torres Finney already booked. Great. Death Taxes, Ponzinibbio getting finished in the third. It's Death Taxes and Ponzinibbio fights ending in the third round. That's pretty much what it is. We're really getting 10 fights for a pay-per-view. This shit is wild. It's 11 right now. Hopefully they get one more. Jazz by sub seems too free. Maybe. I mean, Andrade's submission defense is pretty bad, but I don't know that Jazzy's gonna be locking up shit like right away. I think it'd probably be rounds 2 or 3. How do you see Natalia Silva and Grasso going? I think Silva wins a decision from the outside. Is Barrio really that washed that he's going to lose to Bruno Silva next weekend? I mean, that's the fight of who's more washed, Barrio or Bruno Silva. I think they just did that to find out who to cut at that point. Who's like that one fighter you would like to see becoming champ? The one fighter I would like to see become champ, Kevin Vallejos, because that dude will always be in a fun fight. I would love to see him become champ because he's Topuria 2.0, bro. Pressure boxing, high volume, big counter strike. Like, that type of fight style is the best, dude. Because at any point they land that shot, it's over. But you also get to see a lot of action throughout the fight as well. Grasso team can't game plan. I think Grasso's skills are slipping. I'm going Silva. I agree. Brad Katona is not winning this week. Can we all agree? I don't know that I would agree with that, but Brad Katona will always make fights competitive. Let's just say that. John Jones versus two Marabs. Depends. How many times can John Jones sprawl in 25 minutes? He'd have to like knock out one with a knee up the middle or something and then go 1v1 and then just get up on top and be heavy. What do you think? What do you think where Carlos go from here? Kobe Wonderboy MVP? Carlos versus Randy Brown or MVP might be okay. That would actually be decent. Wonderboy would be all right. Derek Brunson's strength of schedule is insane. Yeah, kind of. I feel like there's a lot of hype for International Fight Week, but little did we know we're getting Tom versus Gon. I hope not. If they give Gon a title shot after losing to Volkov, like, come on, bro. Bo Nickal has to be the biggest heel in the UFC because I absolutely despise his guts. Sean Shelby said that. Do you think Chepe makes a far run? I think he's really good. I think he can win a lot of fights, but there's a cap to like his skill level. He wins a lot of fights based on like just fucking being a junkyard dog and like wanting it more than a lot of these guys. Like he's got some skills, but I don't think his skills are on the level of a top 10 guy in the UFC. Bo is too small for middleweights. I kind of agree, man. Kind of do. Meant Bo too big for welterweight. Oh, okay, yeah. I think he's in a weird tweener. He's like probably a 178 pounds. Probably like what he could get down to. GM3 versus Bo next. Vallejos low-key needs to drop a weight class. He's fucking amazing. No, yeah. I always thought the guy was a bantamweight, but he is a featherweight. And he's pretty big, but like I mean, what's Vallejos' height? It's got to be what, 5'6"? Yeah, he's 5'7". I mean, Topuria is what, 5'7"? Yeah, I mean, he's the same height as Topuria. So I guess, moving down to 135 probably wouldn't even be needed. But yeah, we'll see. Who would win? You or Juliana Miller? Boys, as much as I would like to say I would beat Juliana Miller, she actually has some pretty good grappling. So she would probably just grab a hold of me and outclass me in the jiu-jitsu. Even if she couldn't take me down, she'd probably just climb my back and choke me out. Maybe not choke me out, because I thought for sure she could have choked out Ivana Petrovic, but she didn't even really come close. So I think she'd probably beat me. But if it was a kickboxing battle, I would whoop her, bro. I would whoop her. So if Belal wins, does someone hand Dana a napkin with the main event for International Fight Week to read at the post fight? Maybe, but I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. I think MVP would beat Pratis. I could see that. I could definitely see that. Definitely Reebok. You said Reebok. Definitely Reebok Pratis versus Jeff Neal. Yeah, I'm about that too. If there was a gun to your head and you had to give 100% lock this week on 315, who is it? So you're asking me like one fighter that I don't think is losing if there's a gun to my head. If they lose, I'm dead. I would probably say Jazz Davicius. Just because it's a terrible style for Andrade. Andrade is a straw weight that gets like thick and fat at 125, and her ground game is not great. But if she could stuff some takedowns, she's definitely the better striker. But I just trust Jasmine to get the takedowns, so I'd probably say Jasmine. Jake, that twister you pulled off last month was sick. Can't wait to see you back in the UFC. Hey, I appreciate that, brother. I've been grinding in the gym, getting that skill set to where it needs to be. Maybe we'll get that PFL $500,000, win the tournament, and then get back to the UFC. Appreciate you, brother. The ultimate final boss of Dana favoritism will be him making a cruiserweight and shuffling the weight classes to make it better for Bo. That would be funny as hell, actually. Bo loses and then the UFC makes another weight class, 175 pounds. They do 160 and like 140, 130. Like, come on, man. That'd be ridiculous. Who would win, you or King of Lions? Jubilee would fuck me up, bro. Jubilee would fuck me up. Who's my favorite fighter? DDP, the man in the back. UFC fumbled hard on not signing the Russian dude that beat Pereira in Glory. He's back at kickboxing. Yeah. I mean, why not bring the guy in? Like, I look at some of the guys that the UFC brings in, and I'm like, you're literally only bringing them in because they will accept 12,000 to show and 12,000 to win, just to like fill a spot on a card. Some of these guys to get in the UFC nowadays, it's like you don't even have to be that good. You don't. You just got to fight some bums on the regional scene, get a couple wins, and then be willing to step in on short notice and take a beating against a guy that just was on the card and his opponent fell out. The barrier to entry to get in the UFC like isn't that deep at all anymore. So when they have guys like a Vakitov where they don't sign them or they just lowball the shit out of them, it's like, come on, bro. Like we could use another fun kickboxer, Why not? Andrade is checked out. Yeah, kind of seems like it. Whoever follow your picks down bad, they were down bad on Saturday night. I'm not going to lie, because last night was the worst betting card for me in 2025. But on the year, they're definitely not down bad because we've been cooking the 7 weeks prior and throughout 2025. So great chat from Aaron Williams. I'm sure this guy is a very successful person coming in here. Aaron Williams, fucking loser. Ritter made Bo look small. He did make him look small. How thin is this card if you're putting your life in the hands of Jasmine Jastovicius? It's thin. It's thin, man. It is real thin. But I mean, let's pick your poison. You want my life in the hands of Navajo fucking Sterling? Probably not. Do I want my life in the hands of fucking Jose Aldo at 39 years of age? No. So, I mean, Jasmine knows her game, man. She does. Whoever tells us probably how big, the numbers don't lie. They do not lie. And that's why I be very transparent in every video that I do. And I show you the results. The numbers do not lie. We do take our losses, but we win more than we lose. He asked for a lock. She's just been trustworthy, and in the matchup, she has a clear path. Yeah, 100%. Do I like MMA Guru's content? I don't watch it very often, but I do enjoy it when I do. When I do watch it, I do enjoy it. I think it's cool. Aaron Williams is not invited to the cookout. Facts. Fucking loser, bro. It's what? Fuck. It's 8 o'clock on a Sunday night. My dude joined the stream to say some bullshit. That's why 95% of everyone in the chat, in the comments, are like, they're great. It's like that 5%. It's like, bro, your life must suck. Like, it really must be like terrible. I think Jasmine is taking an L this week. Not sure about a bet yet. Would like to see Andrade a bit wider. Tried to fade her in the last 2 fights. Last one was rough, but Fatima went 3 rounds. Well, Fatima's a good grappler. Like, she is a good grappler that was up a weight class. So, yeah, I just don't think Andrade can deal. I mean, once Jasmine gets you down, like, you're staying there, and she's going to do damage. So, D-Rod got some El Salvador tattoo looking like a straight inmate. His tattoos are interesting. Sure, buddy. How'd that Cameron pick go? I mean, it did not go well. Brendan Allen versus RDR or Roman? RDR versus Roman's on a little streak. He deserves to keep going up. Canada, I like Jasmine, but she also lost to Tracy Cortez. It was more of a knock on the depth of the card. Yeah. Very underrated fighter. Hey, Jive, one of the realest in the game, no glaze, but saying it because fuck Aaron Williams. Hey, it's fuck Aaron Williams all 2025. That's facts. DDP versus Ankalaev at 205. All right, now we're getting way too deep. I think we're going to cut it off there, boys. An hour and 12 minutes, almost 13. Verna for the strap 2025. We out. Absolutely, Alex. Absolutely. Verna for the strap 2025. Appreciate y'all for joining Sunday Service, episode number 46. UFC Des Moines is in the past. Bo Nickal got fraud checked. On to UFC 315. We're going to dissect the card over the next couple days. We'll be back here with the live breakdown on the YouTube. Stay tuned for that. Should be a lot of fun. Official picks coming to you on Wednesday. Thursday, best bets. Friday, long shots only live show. It's going to be a good week. Pay-per-view. Hopefully we get a little rebooking or somebody to step in and face BSD because the card could use it. But appreciate y'all. Till next time, we out.